Subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified about the highlights of India's smartest podcast, The Ranveer Show. This is TRS Clips. So I was reading your Wikipedia page, which said that you hacked your school system to get some chemistry paper answers, and then you basically were able to cheat on an exam. Is that true? Is that a true story? That's how you got into hacking?
I've been a geek and a nerd always, all throughout. Yes, I was in my school where I went ahead and basically hacked into chemistry because I was a terrible student. And this goes back to the second point if you want. I'm just going a little bit into my story.
Sure.
My report card used to have more reds than blues. I was a terrible student. But there were three subjects, which was mathematics, computer science, and physics, which I was almost always top of my class. Like those were my subjects. Those were things which I always enjoyed, right?
Speaking about your bad grades, I just want to say don't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. But go on.
Well, you're right in that way because those were things where I was not interested, and I was a fish very clearly who did not want to climb that tree, and that's the reason why there were so many reds in my report card. Whenever my parents used to go to the school, they're like, "Oh my God, this is not good," and but because there were a few subjects we were really good at, chemistry was one of those subjects where I used to like back to back fail. Like every time, I never wanted to learn those complex formulas and things around that. And this was right before the board examination, where my teacher and literally I got this thing from the principal of the school saying, if you don't go ahead and pass this exam, you'll not be allowed to sit for your boards. There's something called pre-boards. So, there's you do those things. So I had to do something, and that something was not study. So we I was there they used to type the computer paper in the computer lab. But my teacher was very smart. She went ahead and she locked, it was a Microsoft Word paper. So, you can lock a Microsoft Word file with password. We used to play a lot of Counter-Strike back then in the computer lab. So it was easy to actually get an access to the file, get it on my system, took it on my pen drive, got it to my home system, and simply ran like very freely available. There's something called brute force tool. And what's brute force in a very simple way? If you think about passwords, it's always a combination of lowercase, uppercase, special characters, and numbers. So a brute force tool simply tries all combinations possible. So it'll start with A and then AA, AB, AC, AD, and probably do like, tens of thousands of attempts every second. So, at some point it will crack the password. So it was really that simple. Download a tool, give it a big dictionary or a library of words, or just let it do random, permutation combinations, and then try to basically leave it for, I left it for like 8 or 9 hours and I got the password. So it was really that simple. I did go and confess to the teacher. I said, ma'am, look, this is something that has happened, and just for you to know, this is something which I didn't intend to do, but I still did it because I wanted to pass the exam, and this was right before the exam. So in a way, it was very legal. When I say legal, because I'm telling her right before the exam. Remember, this is the last exam before the boards, and I went to her like 30 minutes before the exam, and she was like, "You're telling me now? Are you serious?" And then she was like, do whatever, I'm okay. I still scored like 65 out of 100 in that, because who wanted to learn all the answers like too long? I like, dude, no, that's not me. So there was no red flags because I didn't suddenly become the topper from being like, very bad student. But yeah, that was my first tryst with real hacking and using that. And of course, I did reasonably well in the board, so all good.
Why did you tell her? That's your ethical part of the ethical hacking coming out.
Actually not. And I'll tell you why. And this might be counterintuitive. I actually thought that it's like covering your base. You want to think of it like this, right? At that time, right before the boards, 30 minutes before the exam, etc., it was not supposed to be something which, she could do a lot with, right? She was a very sweet lady, and she was very, very knowledgeable, etc. And the good part would be, I thought I'll be in her good books, because she like, look, he came and he told me. And because it was just 30 minutes back, I like, hey, you have to do things back to back. And, you have 5,000 things to take care of when your subject's exam is starting out. So I actually thought it was a part of the plan, because when you do that, in a way, you are just, removing any risk from the fact, because I could tell her that, look, I told you, and then I sat for the exam. And the thing she was disappointed with was like, even then, why are you not scoring the highest marks? Like, that's what she was disappointed with. I was like, ma'am, I at least passed, right? And she's like, okay, do the best in the board. So I actually think that was the reason why that happened.